Research, Bishop Jake's research, I've done research, other people have done, show that when you acknowledge that trauma, but you get into that place where you disconnect, it's called disentanglement in quantum physics, where you literally cut the ties, pull out the plug, release, forgive, whatever word you want to do, not your problem. That's bad what they did. We're not excusing, but I keep stressing that. I don't want people to think I'm having compassion and it's an excuse for that person to continue. No, what I'm saying is that person needs to work on their own stuff. You need to work on your own stuff, or you're going to start doing maybe something similar, or you're going to fall apart, or you're going to impact others. So you disconnect, and that literally scientifically disconnects that person from you. Forgiveness or release, whatever you want to call it, cuts that energy source. You pull out the plug. Now you can create an environment where you can tune into the wisdom of the unconscious. Now my conscious can hear what is the way to move forward.
I think there's two dangers here. I think there's the danger of first of all, forgiveness does not mean that you have earned or I can forgive you, but that doesn't mean that gives you proximity to me.
Exactly.
Okay, that's the first thing. Second thing is, if I don't get it out of me, I will recreate it in my next relationship.
Exactly.
Because it is still a part of me. It's still connected to me. So getting it out of me is to cough it like phlegm up out of me. I got to get it out of me so that I can get well and go on with my life. Whether you choose to get it out or not, that's up to you. I can't get it out for you. And that's something I think a lot of people don't understand. They love so hard that they want to fix the person.
Exactly. You can't fix
anyone. And you can't do that.
You can stand by their side. You can give them every tool in the book and all the support, and it's still their choice. But that's where you have to get strong. And you say such a good thing then, that it is going to impact other people. Mm-hmm. And this is where what we're circling back to earlier on, what you were saying, is that people kind of get into this victim mentality. Mm-hmm. And you've talked about, the what next. We have to process through. We can't just keep talking about, you said like in therapy is good and etc. But you can't just keep bringing it up. I liken that to flying a plane. The pilots have to prepare the plane. If they just prepare the plane and do nothing else, you go nowhere. A lot of people are breathing, meditating, saying their prayers, but they're not going anywhere. Right. Then there's people that are doing that preparation, but they're taking off. The pilot takes off next. But that's, I feel like this, and there's all the awareness, there's all the talk about, but then they don't process. Then they crash as well. We have to prepare, we have to take off, we have to fly. Flying's got 3 stages. The first part is where you actually, why am I in this state? Right. The third part is, the second part of flying, once you're flying or processing, is to then see what else is this connected to? What are the generational things? What are the other areas of my life? What is the impact? How is this? Then the fourth thing is, okay, well, these are the patterns. I can't change what's happened, but I can change how it plays out into my future. Then you can land with an action and start making those changes. That's what's missing.
What I love about what you're saying is something that I think is often missing from the pulpits in America. We misallocate all the responsibility for our healing to God.
Yes.
And we step back and remain innocent, and our innocence is complicit to our deliverance because we don't understand. I like to liken it. It's really why I named this next chapter. The first time God hewed out the stone and wrote the 10 Commandments on the stone. The second time he told Moses to hew out the stone, and then he wrote on the stone. It was more collaborative. And I think the deeper we get with God, we have to get to the point that we understand that we have a responsibility, that faith without works is dead. And we know a lot about the faith, but we've not been taught about the works. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to choose to bring about the greater healing that I want in my life?
I love that.
Can
I comment on that? Because I know one of the things you wanted to discuss was addiction. If we live like that, I'm going to liken that almost to addiction. If you live like that, you're living in that conscious room only, and you're only intermittently tapping into wisdom. But that's very unsatisfactory. So it doesn't satisfy who you are as a human. We're deep.
Right.
We're brilliant.
Right.
We need to think things. We need to experience sadness and happiness. We need to learn, and we need to not see failure as the end. Failures, how can we learn? We're supposed to be learning to operate in love. And that's a hard journey. We're in a world that says, oh, you feel bad, take a drug. Oh, you feel bad, there's something wrong with your brain. There's always blaming something. There's always giving is outsourcing. It's insourcing. It's in you. Sure, we have to deal with the physical. Thank goodness for medicine. We have to deal with the physical impact of high blood pressure and high cholesterol and all these things that happen when we don't manage our mind. And we must come back to the Alzheimer's thing as well. We mustn't forget, because I want to say something about that. But ultimately, you have to fix it from your mind.
Right.
Your mind is 99%. That's where the work starts. That's where the peace will come. That's where we'll find the solutions to move forward. But that requires going through the pain first, going through that healing journey. People don't want to go through the healing journey. You're just going to land up fighting,
Right.
being a victim, or being unhappy, or getting caught up in the wrong things and the wrong thinking. And then they become addicted to, let me say a scripture, let me grab that drink, let me pretend I'm fine, performative. Society that we live in. That's an addiction. That performative society. I'm okay. You're not okay. It's just a shell. You're just living in the outer conscious, and deep down inside, you're broken, you're depressed, because you're not tapping into the non-conscious and exploring that.
And one of the ways to know that you are addicted to work is when you go on vacation.
And you can't rest.
And you are miserable. You're the first 3 or 4 days you're walking around. You need a fix.
You need a fix.
You need a fix, and you don't realize how addicted you are. And then you come down, and you're emotional, and you're weeping, and then you say, "I'm never going to do that to myself again." And then if you're not careful, you go back and do it to yourself again.
All over again. Just
Yeah.
repeat the cycle,
Yeah.
living in a conscious mind-brain loop instead of a non-conscious conscious mind-brain loop. The conscious mind without the non-conscious mind is like letting a toddler loose.
Right.
And that's, think of letting a toddler loose. What will happen? You've got grandchildren. You've got to watch them all the time.
Right.
And so we're supposed to, this is what praying continuously is. It's getting your non-conscious, your conscious mind. I choose to listen to the depths, which means then I'm listening to the real depth. I'm listening to, you know what I'm saying? You're opening that doorway. And I think a lot of our addictive patterns from my research, working with people with drug addictions, alcoholism, and all that kind of thing, and whether it's not those extremes, it could just be addicted to saying scripture over and over.
Right.
Or shopping. I mean, or
Scrolling on your phone.
scrolling on your phone.
Yeah.
Those are patterns of conscious mind-brain loops that they've got stuck in, that are creating these temporary highs, creating a temporary fix in the body. The body is 1% of who we are, but when we get caught in a conscious mind-brain loop without the non-conscious, we get sucked into the physical, and we rely on that. Meanwhile, that's only 1%. We've got to train ourselves to stop getting stuck there and train ourselves to learn to love the non-conscious, the spirit level,